The standard way of thinking about manifestation and abundance is that focusing on positivity and visualizing our desires will raise our vibration, and consequently, attract what we wish for. This is, to a great extent, true. At the same time, we are here to grow, learn, and often to heal what our souls have been wanting to release for lifetimes. As spiritually conscious individuals, we may sometimes have additional issues with manifesting joy and abundance, issues they don't necessarily talk about in manifesting workshops. All of these essentially boil down to not getting what we want. It is certainly true that we need to embrace our power to co-create. However, I believe that we sometimes need to go through the process of purification, which essentially aligns our ego-centered goals and desires with those of our soul and the universe. This process strips us of everything that is not real, as we surrender more and more to our soul-centered selves. This does not mean living in misery or giving our power away. Ultimately, what is at stake here is living the life of fulfillment, mission, and alignment with our soul. This may sometimes contradict what our ego wants. In order to manifest our purpose, we also need to heal the damage that has been done to our soul blueprint. The more we heal, the more we are able to receive. But how do we claim our power? How do we become who we are, and follow our dreams? In my own work, relating both to my personal healing journey and to the work that I do with my clients, I have experienced that the manifestation process consists of 3 major stages, which I wanted to discuss here. 1. Line it up. If your desire to do something is complete, if your whole being is in it without seeking a result, without wanting to fulfill, which means without fear, there is no hindrance. There is a hindrance, a contradiction, only when your desire is incomplete, broken up, you want to do something and at the same time, you are afraid to do it, or you want to do something else. The first step in manifesting is to ask for what we need. It starts with us telling God, the Spirit, the universe, our higher self, what it is that we want. This means, of course, that we will first have to identify our desire, accept it, and be willing to receive it into our life. This is what I want, now show me the way. Lining up essentially means feeling into what it's like to be living our dream, to be who and where we want to be. We need to really try and spend some time in our inner sanctuary space, visualizing what it's like to already have what we asked for. This may sound like a broken record, but the purpose of this exercise is twofold: to match our vibration to that of our desire, as well as to identify what blocks we may have towards receiving it. Pay attention to the inner dialogue, and the ways in which you are telling yourself I am not worthy, everyone's already doing it, I have to take care of my children, I won't have the time. Excuses are many, but most of them are just illusions. Accept them for what they are, excuses, and release them. Remember that, essentially, nothing is impossible. Only energy is real. Our job is not to stress and worry as to how things will work out, but rather to give ourselves the essence of what we are trying to create, to visualize what it feels like to have, to flow, to feel joy. This will generate energy which aligns our vibration with that of our desired outcome. As you spend time feeling into your future, remember that our deepest desires very often are our mission, or it would have been impossible for us to come up with them in the first place. 2. Let it go. At this stage, our job is to get out of the way. We are often our worst enemies when it comes to manifesting. The patterns of self-sabotage start kicking in, the mind starts telling stories and looking for flaws, the ego wants to claim dominion of the universe in such a way that we can keep sitting on our butts doing nothing. Let it all go. How the job is done is none of our business. Manifesting is not about control, it's about trust. Attachment to the result is destructive precisely because it creates fear, fear of what will happen if we do not get what we want. Not only does this fear lower our vibration, it also hampers our spiritual growth. Manifesting is not so much getting what we want as it is becoming who we really are. And sometimes this involves waiting while being suspended in the cloud of unknowing. Just like a parent has to let go of a child's hand in order for her to learn to walk by herself, so the universe sometimes needs to let us fall and crawl, until we learn to stand in our own power. Trust that you are loved and supported anyway, even if you don't feel it here and now. Falling is part of the process of growing up. One of my teachers used to say that the mind is a fault-seeking missile. It is constantly looking for negativity, for what could go wrong. This function of the mind is a great defense mechanism in terms of survival, when we need to scan our surroundings for danger, or quickly decide which choices to avoid. But when we go for our dreams, we sometimes need to learn to work around the mind, or risk forever being stuck in the fear of what if. One of the strategies that is helpful is using the effective question. Ask your mind to go into the opposite direction. For example, write down 15 ways in which you can earn more money this week, or 12 ideas for new products you can launch if you have this business, or 25 ways to look for a new job. Let your mind be busy with making lists of the things you could do with your new job, or the money that you need. 3. Let it in. Receiving what we asked for can be much more difficult than we thought. We may have released the desire to control the outcome or to micromanage the universe, but sometimes, our manifestation comes to us in the form of a disaster, be it loss, pain, or uncertainty. When this happens, we are actually releasing what no longer serves us. What now seems like a disaster can well be our greatest blessing, as our own soul is forcing us to receive our freedom. Receive it as it comes. It is important at this stage to always look for abundance in every situation, by asking ourselves, where is the abundance right now? Perhaps you just lost your job, but you have an abundance of time. What can you do with this time? Maybe you can finally take that course you've been thinking about for so long, or start working on your website, or join a meditation group that you never had time for. The possibilities are endless. There is always abundance happening no matter where we are. Think of abundance as a flow that you are tuning into, not something that you have to manifest through finding a magic formula to control the world. The trick is to learn to see this flow of abundance in everything. As you do, more will be coming your way. Gratitude is contagious. Again, set your mind to work for you, rather than against you. Find 15 things to be grateful for each morning as you wake up, even when life looks like an absolute disaster around you. Wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. Receiving abundance means becoming who we are: healers, doctors, writers, artists, mothers, or entrepreneurs. It means taking that step into the unknown where we have to trust that we will land before actually seeing the ground. And when the universe smacks us on the head with all the parts of us that feel unworthy of receiving, we accept those parts as an integral part of us and work on healing with forgiveness and compassion. Healing ourselves and thus healing the whole world is actually part of the deal. The more we are able to heal, the more we are also able to receive. Eventually, the journey becomes more and more about tuning in and connecting with what is already there, as we gradually lift ourselves up from the collective consciousness and go to the level of a co-creator. When we allow ourselves to join with the divine, we start seeing things as they really are, rather than how we were taught they were. We start seeing ourselves for who we truly are, powerful co-creators, and start claiming back our power. And this is what true abundance is anyway. May we always have the courage to take the first step,